So imagine you're parked at a red light.
Okay.
And you look over to your left and there is this, brand new gleaming 6-figure Porsche SUV.
A pretty common sight in the right neighborhood.
Right. But then you look to your right and there is a slightly faded, maybe 7-year-old Honda Civic.
Okay, I see where this is going.
Yeah, because statistically speaking, and this is based on the mountain of financial data we are digging into today, the person sitting behind the wheel of that Honda Civic has a significantly higher net worth than the person in the Porsche.
It's wild, but yeah, it's true.
It is wild. So welcome to today's deep dive. Today we're looking at the research compiled in The Quiet Path to Financial Independence, which dissects the landmark findings of Thomas J. Stanley's The Millionaire Next Door.
Yeah, it's a fascinating study.
We are basically going to explore the data that proves almost everything we collectively believe about, looking rich is actually just a mathematical blueprint for staying poor.
What's fascinating here is the massive disconnect between status signaling and actual quantifiable wealth.
Yeah.
Like, we are biologically wired to assess people's success by their visible artifacts, right? The watches, the cars, the zip codes.
The stuff we can easily see.
Exactly. But the research fundamentally proves that those luxury items are not indicators of wealth. They are simply indicators of spending.
Right, which is a huge distinction.
Huge. When you see a high-end luxury car, the only thing you know for absolute certain about the driver's finances is that they have less money today than they did yesterday.
Wow. Yeah, because they spent it on the car.
Exactly. So our primary goal today is to look at the underlying mechanics of total financial independence, which, as the data shows, operates completely invisibly.
I mean, we all know intellectually that a high salary doesn't automatically guarantee a high net worth, but the data we're looking at proves it in a way that is honestly kind of terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying.
It forces us to confront this massive psychological blind spot. The total confusion between an income statement and a balance sheet.
Yes.
People just routinely mistake high cash flow for actual wealth.
I'd say it is the single most destructive financial illusion in modern society.
Really? The single most?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, the research highlights a specific recurring scenario that illustrates this perfectly. You have one individual making $50,000 a year who operates with strict financial discipline.
Okay.
They consistently capture and invest a portion of that income. Then on the other hand, you have someone making $200,000 a year who completely exhausts their income just maintaining a high consumption lifestyle.
Right. The expensive dinners, the leases.
Exactly. And over a 20-year period, the individual making a fraction of the salary doesn't just catch up to the high earner.
They pass them.
They dramatically surpass them in actual net worth.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because understanding the mechanism of how a $50,000 salary beats a $200,000 salary is, it's crucial for you to understand.
It's the core of the whole concept.
Right. So think about it like managing a water supply. The high earner has this massive high-pressure fire hose of water, their income blasting into a bucket.
A lot of water coming in very fast.
Exactly. But because of their lifestyle, they've carved a massive hole in the bottom of that bucket that exactly matches the diameter of the fire hose.
Yeah, so the water violently rushes in and violently rushes out.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the $50,000 earner has, a modest garden hose, but their bucket is completely solid.
No leaks.
No leaks at all. Over time, the person with the fire hose is always left holding a damp, empty bucket, while the person with the garden hose has a reservoir they can actually drink from when a drought hits.
And that drought always hits eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's a recession, a health issue, whatever. If we connect this to the bigger picture, society relentlessly celebrates the size of the fire hose.
We really do. We applaud the big promotion, the massive salary bump.
The lucrative new contract, yeah.
Yeah.
But income is incredibly fragile. It is entirely dependent on your continuing ability to work, your health, and just the whims of the economy.
So true.
Real wealth, as defined by this research, is the invisible accumulation of kept capital. It is what stays in the bucket.
What stays in the bucket?
Right. The fundamental law of financial independence is simply this. Wealth is not what you earn. It is what you keep.
Which means we need to look at why people are actively carving holes in their own buckets.
Yeah, that's the big question.
Like, if a highly educated, highly compensated professional is still fundamentally broke at the end of the month, willpower isn't the issue.
No, it's deeper than that.
There is a psychological trap at play. And the research categorizes these behaviors into two distinct profiles, right? The PODUBAs and the UAW.
Yes. Stanley's categorization here is just brilliant in its simplicity. So PAW stands for prodigious accumulator of wealth.
Ah,
These are the garden hose individuals with solid buckets. They effectively capture income and convert it into wealth.
got it. And the UAWs.
Then you have the UAWs, the underaccumulators of wealth.
All right.
What makes the UAW profile so interesting is that they are very often the highest earners in our society.
Wait, really? The highest earners?
Oh, yeah. We are talking about surgeons, corporate attorneys, high-level executives. They generate massive amounts of cash, but their net worth is shockingly low compared to their lifetime earnings.
Okay, let's talk about the exact mechanism of how a doctor making, say, $400,000 a year ends up as a UAW.
Sure.
It's a phenomenon called lifestyle inflation, right? But from what I read, it's not just about greed. It's about a deeply ingrained occupational expectation.
That is a critical distinction. The UAW surgeon doesn't necessarily buy the Mercedes and the massive house in the exclusive zip code just because they want shiny toys.
Right.
They buy them because they feel an intense, implicit pressure to project competence.
Like, they have to look the part.
Exactly. There is a societal expectation that a successful surgeon should look like a successful surgeon.
Right. Like, if a high-profile attorney drives up to the courthouse in a dented 10-year-old sedan, their clients might subconsciously question their ability.
Exactly. They might think, well, is this lawyer actually any good if he's driving a beater? So they inflate their lifestyle to match their new income bracket.
They get a raise, they upgrade the car.
They make partner, they buy the bigger house. They basically trap themselves on a hedonic treadmill where their expenses constantly rise to meet and often exceed their massive incomes.
Wait, I have to jump in here and challenge this logic for a second.
Go for it.
Because if the alternative is just living like a broke college student forever, aren't we missing the point of working hard in the first place?
I hear this all the time.
Right. Like, if you grind through med school and residency, or you work 80-hour weeks to make partner at a law firm, and then you just aggressively hoard every penny while driving a beater, aren't you just miserable?
That's the assumption, yeah.
Are these prodigious accumulators actually enjoying their lives in their 30s and 40s, or are they just misers waiting to turn 65?
Okay, so that is the exact defense mechanism the UAW uses to justify their spending. But it fundamentally misunderstands the goal of the PAW.
How so?
The prodigious accumulator isn't hoarding pennies out of a sense of martyrdom. They are purchasing a different kind of luxury.
What kind of luxury?
Well, the UAW is buying short-term dopamine hits, right? The thrill of the new car, the prestige of the country club.
Yeah, the visible stuff.
But the cost of that dopamine is a total loss of autonomy.
Yeah.
They have to keep working those 80-hour weeks just to service the debt on their lifestyle.
Oh, wow, they literally can't stop.
Right. But the PAW trades that visible, short-term pleasure for the ultimate invulnerable luxury, freedom. They are buying the ability to walk away from a bad boss, the ability to take a year off, or just the ability to sleep peacefully knowing a medical emergency won't bankrupt them.
So it's not about punishing yourself, it's about defining what actually makes you sleep well at night.
Exactly.
The UAW is essentially renting their lifestyle from their employer, whereas the PAW owns their life outright.
Precisely. The UAW has high status, but high stress. The PAW has low status, but total autonomy.
So what does this all mean for the daily mechanics of how these prodigious accumulators actually operate?
It comes down to how they manage their household.
Like, if they aren't upgrading to the McMansion or leasing the luxury SUV, what is the physical circuit breaker they use to stop the impulse to spend? How do they deploy all this capital they are capturing?
Well, they do it by treating their personal household like a highly efficient, ruthless business.
A business.
Yeah. And the very first mechanic of that business is strategic frugality. But we need to redefine frugality here.
Right, because usually people think of, like, clipping coupons.
Exactly. It isn't just a defensive strategy of extreme couponing. It is a highly offensive strategy of resource allocation.
Offensive strategy, I like that.
The data reveals a staggering statistic. The average millionaire drives a dependable, unpretentious car, often a 4-year-old Toyota or Ford, and they drive it into the ground.
Really? A Ford or Toyota?
Yeah, they do not lease. They completely reject the concept of rapidly depreciating assets.
Okay, let's unpack this business analogy. If I am the CFO of a successful corporation and we have a blowout quarter with record revenue, I don't take all that cash and buy mahogany desks and a private jet just to look cool to my competitors.
No, you'd be fired.
Right, that would be grounds for immediate termination. I take that revenue and I aggressively pump it into research and development. I buy new equipment, I expand operations, I buy things that will generate more revenue.
That is exactly how the paw treats their household income. They look at their salary as raw material to build an economic engine. Instead of buying consumer goods, they buy appreciating assets. They funnel their kept capital into boring index funds, commercial real estate, or acquiring small businesses.
So they're buying cash flow.
Yes, they are strategically purchasing things that pay them dividends, rather than things that require constant maintenance and insurance.
And it isn't just their money they're allocating, right? It's their time. I was struck by the data showing how much time these people actually spend managing their balance sheets.
Time is the hidden variable in wealth creation. It really is.
Yeah.
Think about it. UAWs spend immense amounts of time shopping, researching luxury goods, and managing the logistics of their complex, high-maintenance lifestyles.
Taking the European car to the special mechanic.
Exactly. The Pauls spend a fraction of that time on consumption. Instead, they spend hours every month meticulously planning their investments, researching tax strategies, and consulting with financial advisors.
Wow, so they treat it like a real job.
They actively manage their money like a second job because they understand that $1 saved from taxes or unnecessary fees is identical to $1 earned from a salary.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because allocating time and treating your life like a balance sheet requires immense focus.
It does.
But willpower is a finite resource. Like, if I am determined to be a paw, but I work in an industry where everyone is talking about their new luxury watches, and my neighbors are constantly pulling up in leased European sports cars, eventually the friction is gonna wear me down.
Absolutely.
It's like trying to quit sugar while working in a bakery. You can't just rely on sheer mental fortitude. You have to physically change the environment.
This raises an important question. How do these individuals sustain this level of discipline over decades without burning out?
Right.
And the research points directly to environmental control. Human behavior is highly malleable, and we subconsciously mirror the financial habits of our immediate social circle.
We want to fit in.
Always. The paws survive because they consciously curate their environment. They deliberately insulate themselves.
So they aren't hanging out in the bakery.
Exactly. They choose to live in middle-class neighborhoods even when they can technically afford to live in the wealthiest zip codes.
Oh, that makes sense.
By living in a modest neighborhood, they automatically remove the pressure to keep up with hyper-wealthy neighbors. Their kids go to standard schools, their neighbors drive normal cars.
Right.
When your social circle derives its identity from shared hobbies, community involvement, or, investment strategies, rather than conspicuous consumption, frugality stops being a sacrifice.
It just becomes the norm.
It becomes the default setting. You are no longer swimming against the current. You've actively chosen a different river.
Which naturally brings up the most complicated part of this entire equation. Passing this down.
Yes. The next generation.
Right. If you've spent 40 years building this incredible economic engine, living modestly, and accumulating a massive net worth, what happens when you introduce kids into the mix?
It's the ultimate test.
Because we've all seen the stereotype, right? The hypo-disciplined parent who accidentally raises completely spoiled, entitled children who blow through the family fortune in 5 years.
We see it all the time.
How do the paws transfer the wealth without transferring a toxic relationship to money?
This is where the research is perhaps its most profound. The paws understand that if you give a child the fruits of wealth without teaching them the mechanics of wealth, you destroy their ability to function.
Destroy their ability to function. That's strong.
It is, but it's true. The data introduces a concept called economic outpatient care.
Economic outpatient care?
Yeah. This is when parents constantly provide financial life support to their adult children.
Like what?
Like paying their credit card bills, subsidizing their rent in expensive cities, or gifting them massive down payments for houses they couldn't otherwise afford.
So the UAW parent basically subsidizes a lifestyle for their kid that the kid's actual income cannot support?
Precisely. And by doing that, they ensure the child never develops the psychological antibodies required to survive financial stress.
Wow. Psychological antibodies.
Right. The child becomes completely dependent on the parent's balance sheet, and their consumption habits permanently outpace their earning ability. Paw parents fiercely avoid economic outpatient care.
Wait, so they just cut them off completely? That sounds incredibly harsh.
It isn't about being harsh, it's about structured failure.
Structured failure.
Yes, they let their adult children fail at small, manageable financial hurdles in their 20s.
Okay, give me an example.
So, if the kid racks up credit card debt, the paw parent doesn't swoop in and pay it off. They let the kid work the extra shifts to clear the debt.
Let them feel the burn.
Exactly. By letting them feel the pain of a small financial mistake early on, they teach them the mechanics of risk and consequence. They don't pass down a blank check. They pass down the operating system of wealth creation.
The frugality, the discipline, the delayed gratification.
You got it.
They're teaching them how to build their own solid bucket, rather than just constantly pouring water from the parents' fire hose into the kid's leaking bucket.
That's a perfect way to summarize it.
That makes total sense. It really reframes the entire concept of what a legacy actually is. It's not a trust fund, it's a mindset.
And that mindset is the true quiet path the research is talking about. It is the realization that building wealth is an active, intentional, and largely internal process.
Which brings us to the core philosophy of what we've been uncovering today. The ultimate objective of ignoring the luxury cars, avoiding the massive mortgages, and relentlessly optimizing your household like a business isn't to just sit on a giant pile of cash.
No, not at all.
The goal isn't money for the sake of money. The goal is total financial independence.
Yes. Total FI.
It is the profound, life-altering ability to exist in the world without being entirely dependent on a paycheck. It is having uncompromised absolute authority over how you choose to spend the finite hours of your life.
That is the ultimate prize of the millionaire next door. It is not about looking rich to strangers at a stoplight. It is about being truly, fundamentally free.
Fundamentally free.
To synthesize everything we've pulled from the research today, we have to look at the central anchor quote from the source material. It perfectly encapsulates the illusion versus the reality. Wealth is not about what you show, it's about what you build.
What you build, not what you show. It's a complete paradigm shift for anyone stuck on the hedonic treadmill.
It really is.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with a slightly different, maybe even uncomfortable angle to ponder.
Oh.
Yeah, so we spent this entire time talking about the psychological trap of status signaling, right? And how the truly wealthy avoid showing off with fancy cars or designer clothes.
Right.
But human nature is notoriously tricky. We are inherently social creatures, and we love to signal our virtues to the tribe.
Sure, we want to belong.
So what happens when frugality becomes its own weird status symbol?
Oh, that's interesting.
Think about it. If you and your friends start aggressively competing to see who can live the absolute cheapest or who can find the most extreme, unbelievable bargain on a used car, aren't you technically still just playing the exact same game of social comparison?
You're just competing on a different metric.
Exactly. You are still looking for external validation from your peers. You've just swapped out the scoreboard. Instead of bragging about how much you spent on a luxury watch, you are bragging about how little you spent on your shoes.
It's the inverse, but it's the same psychological need.
It's a very subtle trap, but it shows just how incredibly difficult it is to truly detach your ego from what other people think.
Very true.
So it's definitely something to keep in mind the next time you feel that little urge to brag to your friends about a massive discount you found. Keep building, keep optimizing that balance sheet, but always remember why you are doing it.